first video in a series that I've been wanting to do for a while, and that is my kind of monthly game pickups, because I do, as you can tell, I have a little bit more games than probably the average person. I wanted to do this for a while, have game pickups videos. I might not put one out every month, and it might not always be at the end of the month, but once I get up a nice enough little stack to make a video about, obviously I don't want to make a game pickups video where I only have like 2 or 3 games. So I want to wait until I have at least a decent amount of games to talk about, or if it is a smaller amount of games, I want to make sure that I'm able to talk about those games in at least a little bit of detail. I had a bunch of games that I didn't know anything about that I wasn't able to talk about. It wouldn't make for a very interesting fucking video now, would it? The majority of this list will be PS3 titles. A while back, I was looking to get a PS4, and I really wanted one, and I did something that I told myself I would never do, which is I was planning on going and trading in my PS3 and all the games for it. Did trade in all the games for the PS3, sadly, for a few that I knew that I definitely had to keep because the games just meant too much to me. But for the few games that I didn't trade in, which was only about 5 or 6 different games, those didn't get traded in, and luckily I'm thankful to this day that it worked out like this. But when I went to trade in the PS3 store that I went to, not their fault, pretty much my fault. The plug-in ports for like the audio, the HDMI shit, all that, and basically like the fan on the back of the system was just too dusty. And if they get trade-ins where systems are too dusty, obviously they have to send it in for repairs. They just didn't feel like going through the whole mess, so I actually got to keep the PS3, which I was very fucking thankful for. And then obviously, since they didn't take the PS3, I just kept a controller that I had, so I wasn't shit out of a controller or anything like that. Ever since then, I've been trying to beef up my PS3 collection again, because at one point that was pretty much the only game console that I had, and that was all I ever fucking played. It is kind of exciting to be able to buy a lot of those games again and experience them again. Kind of sucks because I already had them at one point, but the good thing is, games that I had never played before, now I have even more of a reason to buy them and check them out, because now I'm having to buy for PS3 again anyway, and I'm beefing up my collection so I can try the new shit. First one I have, and I wanted to start this one out strong, is actually Remember Me. And I know a lot of people might not know what this game is, and I didn't either at the time, but I had heard about it a lot out there because I'm always looking for like underrated games and like hidden gems and shit. And this one actually never came up on any of those lists. And when I played it, I was fucking pissed because I had heard about this game, but I hadn't really heard about this game because this game is so fucking good. The unique thing about it, which I guess you could really say that it's not unique because it's a blend of 2 different genres, but it pulls it off so well, is if you've ever played any of the Batman Arkham games, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Knight, even Arkham Origins. Arkham City, by the way, is probably one of my favorite games of all time, and definitely one of my favorite games from the 7th generation of consoles. I love that game to death. And this game takes the fighting engine from the Batman Arkham games and blends it with the platforming style of Uncharted and sets you in this like dystopian world that really far in the future, and you're basically going around and you're part of like a rebel team going against like the new government and everything, and it's really fucking cool. I'm in the process of playing through it. If you are looking for something to play on the PS3, don't know what to get because you feel like you've played everything, if you haven't played this, go ahead and pick it up. That's Remember Me by Capcom for the PS3. I have something that a lot of people probably never bought into, but that is the first in the series of the Best of PlayStation Network, which I know there's at least 2 of these. They might have stopped after the second one, but there might be more. But what it does is it's just a compilation of PSN titles, which are download only, and they put them all onto one disc, usually 3 to 4 different games, and they bundle it all together for a really cheap price, and it's a really good way to go about getting digital only games if you want a physical copy. This one comes with When Vikings Attack, Fat Princess, Sound Shapes, and Tokyo Jungle. And the main reason that I got this was for Tokyo Jungle because I had played that a while back, but Sound Shapes is also a really good game, music-based rhythm game, but it's also a platformer at the same time, and you go through the levels and you're basically one little music note but to progress through the level, you have to make a tune in order to get that one little music note through the level. So by the time you end up figuring out how to beat a level, you've created like this awesome little melody that you can like just basically hum along to while you play the game. It really makes you feel like you're part of the game because you basically created the level that you just played through, because you just created the music that allowed you to beat the level. And Tokyo Jungle, and the reason I picked this up, is a really, really unique game. I've never seen anything else like it. It's probably the only game like it that I know of. Tokyo, in the near future, humans went extinct, and it basically, the city went back to a jungle state, and all the buildings are fucking like half destroyed. They have trees growing out of them. Urban paradise, because no humans are around. It's only the animals. Eat or be eaten type of vibe, because you go around and you play as different animals, and the further you get in the game, the more animals you can unlock. Like you'll start out as like a little like Pomeranian puppy, but then you can get up to like a fucking like a lion or a zebra or a gazelle or something with much more power. And once you unlock those animals, the game gets really deep. It has a really neat combat system. It has a breeding system where you can breed with other animals of the same species and make babies, and then you get to actually play as the babies and then raise them up. The more you play through the game and unlock more animals, it's a really good, it has a lot of replay value, and it can keep you going for quite some time. Kane and Lynch 2 Dog Days. Don't really have much to say about this game. I know this is the second in the series. I don't have the first. Never saw it for cheap. I don't pay full price for shit. I know that the Kane and Lynch series is couch co-op, local multiplayer where you can sit down with a friend and play it. I like anything like that. I really love when games support that, because that just goes back to basically how video games used to have to be played. Because if you wanted to play with a friend, you had to get somebody over, and you had to have that second controller. You had to sit down on the couch and play with that person. There was no online. So when games come out that support that, it's just a callback to what games used to be, and I really love it when games do that. Hopefully it's good. Another game that's a blend of, not so much a blend of genres, but more of a blend of game types, and that's Singularity. At a glance, it just looks like your generic first-person shooter, and it is in the gameplay department, but the visual style and the story, imagine taking the BioShock series, the Metro series, the Resistance series, and then throw in a little bit of Wolfenstein, and you basically have all those together into one. That's pretty much what you're getting with Singularity. Like I said, not a great game by any means, but it's different, and I like different. A game that people have been bitching at me, wanting me to play for the longest time, and it has been ported to PS4 with the, got all the DLC, got upgraded to HD and everything like that. Some of you might wonder why I didn't just go pick up that version. Well, I found this version cheap, and when I find a deal, I don't like to pass it up. And that is The Last of Us by Naughty Dog. And I finally got around to playing this game, and I see where all the praise comes from. Because in the 2 to 3 hours that I've put into this game so far, I'm already sucked into the world of The Last of Us. You play as Joel, a man who basically lost everything, has no will to live anymore in the world that he's surrounded in, which is a world occupied by zombie-like creatures. Shit hit the fan really quick, and he had to adapt. And as you can imagine, a person going through that shit, on paper it sounds like a really fucking generic story, but the way that they pulled off the storytelling, and even just simple things like the dialogue in this game, make it such an engrossing world to be a part of. And like I said, now I see where all the praise comes from. If you haven't played The Last of Us, you're really missing out. One thing that I do like to shine a spotlight on is, if you'll ever just, when you buy a new game, a lot of games don't do it now, but some still keep the tradition alive. If you'll take the little paper insert out, sometimes on the back of it, they'll actually have different like cover art to where you can switch that around. And on this one, you can see it has Joel and Ellie, the second main character. And I mean, you could flip that around and then have that be displayed on there. And I really like it when publishers, developers, I'm not sure who makes that the final decision, but I'm really happy when they decide to do that, because It's like you get a free piece of artwork with a game that's already awesome. 2 games that I've been wanting to play for a while. Price never went down. Found a good deal on it, so I went ahead and picked it up. And that's the Ico and Shadow of Colossus collection, remastered in HD for the PS3. And both of these games, they're really hard to describe, but they're really story driven. Just talking about it, I can't do it any justice. Just go watch a review. Really deep games with really deep meanings behind the storytelling, and it's a game that you can't really take at surface value. You have to dig deep to really appreciate what's been presented to us here. Both of these did come out on the PS2, both by the same developer. Same developer, if I'm not mistaken, that made The Last Guardian on PS4. So if you've played The Last Guardian, or you've seen reviews, or you've looked into it, what you get in The Last Guardian is a lot like what you get here. Another thing I like to shine a spotlight on is when games still include instruction manuals, because instruction manuals are cool as fuck. This one also has a reverse art design, which is just a full spread of basically Ico and Shadow of the Colossus there. And I mean, if you flip that around, it's even got the spine writing to where you can, like if you've got it displayed up on a game shelf, you can even see it there. And it's even better when they do that. You know, when you hear about a game coming out and it basically pushes the hardware limitations of the system it was released on, these games push the hardware. A game that I have bought, this is probably like the 6th or 7th time that I've bought it, because I keep wanting to go back to it, because I feel bad. I feel like each time that I play it, I don't appreciate it for what it's really worth. And people give this game a lot of shit, and I don't really think it deserves it, because they gave it shit because it was different, not because it was bad, in my opinion. You can argue that, and I know a lot of people do argue that, but in my opinion, this game deserves to be given a fair chance, just like anything else, and it didn't really get that fair chance, and it just got shot down really fast. And that is Final Fantasy 13 for the PS3. Basically, if you've played any of the Final Fantasies, you kind of know what to expect. Traditional JRPG, battle system, turn-based. The way I see it, the reason this got so much hate is because it was so different from every other Final Fantasy. But in that regard, it doesn't make much fucking sense to me, because no one talks shit about Final Fantasy 12, which was completely fucking different. Final Fantasy 12, if you don't know, is basically a single-player MMO, and Final Fantasy 12 was an MMO with no online features, and nobody gave that game shit, and I thought that was a really fucking weird design flaw. I actually liked it, but that was a weird-ass design flaw. I could have got behind somebody bitching about that, but bitching about this game isn't bad. It's just linear, and yeah, you might say that being open world and being non-linear is part of the Final Fantasy experience. And yeah, it is, but to me, Final Fantasy was always the story, how rich the lore was, and everything surrounding the game's history. Always engrossed me much more than the open world aspect of it. I could care less if it was linear or open world. If it's a good game, it's a good game, and I think this is a pretty good game. And like I said, people just gave it shit for being different and not what they wanted, and the developers to go through and put, I'm sure, as much time as they put into this game and have such a shitty fan reaction, it really fucking irks me, because that's not right. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm thinking too deep about that, but that's just how I see it. And again, this game comes with an instruction manual, something I really approve of, and it also comes with reverse cover art, which I will show off. It's one of the more basic ones, but it's there anyway, and that's what matters. And it has an illustration of one of the main characters, Snow. If you can make that out. It's not a bad game. If you've heard bad things about it, they don't really give it shit for what it lacks. They give it shit for not being like other games, and I really don't like that. One of the many reasons I hate GameStop, you're going to find out right here, right now. But the next game that I have is another game that I've heard a lot about, and people haven't really told me to play this, but I've always wanted to play it. This series, I should say, not just this game, because it is a big-ass series by now, is something that I've always meant to get into, because I've never heard a single bad thing about this series. Anyone that I know that's played this series has been a huge fucking fan of it, and I've always just wanted to kind of be part of that fan base, and that is the Kingdom Hearts series. And I picked up, I know, the fucking shitty GameStop cases, I picked up Kingdom Hearts 1.5 HD Remix. It includes a remastered version of the first game. I remember the game, but I don't remember the name, so excuse me. I'll put in a picture of it here. I'll put in a picture of all 3 games that this includes. One, just to show you what I'm talking about, and 2, because it doesn't have the fucking correct cover art, these shitty ass cases. But it includes a remake, remake. It includes a remastered version of Kingdom Hearts 1, a Kingdom Hearts game that was released on the Game Boy Advance. That was sort of that turned it into like a card-based game back when everything got a fucking card-based incarnation at some point back in those days. I'm sure everybody remembers that. If you were a gamer back in the day, everything, and I mean everything, got a goddamn card-based spin-off, and most of them were shit, but I hope this one's not. But it includes the first Kingdom Hearts game, remaster of that, the card-based game, and the really interesting thing that I do, and something that's kind of has mixed feelings about between within most of the Kingdom Hearts community, is Kingdom Hearts 300, and that is Lost Odyssey for the Xbox 360. And as a lot of people probably know, the 360 didn't get a lot of great, or just any in general, JRPGs. And this game is supposed to be a really well done traditional JRPG in style of just big worlds, crazy looking fucking monsters. Supposed to have a really compelling story that I'm looking forward to playing through. If you like JRPGs, I haven't even played this yet, and I'm already gonna take the chance and recommend it to you because of what I've heard about the game. Like I said, I haven't played it yet, so I can't really describe much of the story to you, but just know that it is a traditional JRPG. If you don't like any of the other traditional style JRPGs, you probably won't like this one. But if you do, I'm sure you'll love this one. I'm really looking forward to playing it because of just how well Tarks Gauntlet, how many good things he said about this game. But like I said, haven't even played it yet, but I'm super looking forward to it, and I would go ahead and recommend it to you guys. His link will be down in the description. Be sure to check him out. Next, I have a game for a console that I don't ever fucking play anymore, and it's a game that it's an older game. That's Super Mario Galaxy for the Nintendo Wii. And the Wii, it didn't do too well. Has the games on it that were good have such a huge cult following because of the system's commercial failure. Neither did its successor, the Wii U. They both were really big commercial failures, so any games on those consoles that did really well, even a Mario game, I know most people probably know about Super Mario Galaxy because it is a Mario game, but there are tons of other hidden gems on the Wii that I hope to get to someday that have just amassed, like I said, such cult followings because nobody bought into the Wii and the gimmicks and the Wii U and the gimmicks that it had. Like I said, the Wii really is something that I probably won't buy a ton of games for because a lot of the games that were developed for the Wii ended up just being shovelware, and developers are just pushing them out, trying to make just one more dime off of that failed fucking console. That's really not that bad of a console. I don't like the motion controls any more than anybody else do. I don't like to stand up and play video games. Who the fuck wants to do that? If I'm playing a video game, I want to sit down and relax. I don't want to be active and shit. Using exercise to market a video game console was just a terrible fucking idea. Nintendo is still really bad about that. They won't give up on that exercise shit even with the Switch, which is doing a lot better than most people expected it to, and I'm glad of. But I'm going off on a tangent right now. But Super Mario Galaxy, I really don't expect this game to be bad at all. And I mean, why would you? It's fucking Mario. And anybody that talks about this game says it's one of their favorite. And anybody that talks about this game really praises it for being a really solid game. But like I said, really just a reason to pick up and play my Wii again because I feel bad because that fucking thing literally just sits there and collects dust. A while back, I modded it. There's an application you can get for the Wii called the Homebrew channel, and on there you can basically emulate just about any older console on there, and the controls usually work pretty well for it, especially for old just regular NES titles, which is basically what I loaded the thing up with. Because the Wii had an SD card slot, the way that people got around it, made the application and made sure it was compatible with the Wii, and then you put that SD card slot on there, you could install it onto the Wii's hard drive, and you could just load up those SD cards, which, I mean, I have a 2 gigabyte SD card, which is nothing compared to other shit today, because 2 gigabyte is such a small amount of space, but for a ROM of an NES game that's only 200 kilobytes or even a megabyte, you can fit pretty much the entire NES library on one SD card and still have a fuck ton of space left over. So if you got a Wii sitting around and you're not against emulating games, because I don't like emulating games on like PCs or anything, and that's partly because I don't like doing it because I feel like I'm cheating the developers, because I'm basically stealing the game. But if you don't mind doing that, putting that onto a Wii, you actually get to use the controller, and it feels a little more traditional. And that kept me playing the Wii for a while, but even then I just got burnt out on it. But hopefully Mario Galaxy will bring them back to it. Next thing that I have is for one of my handhelds that I don't play nearly as much as I should, mainly because I just don't buy enough games for it. Games get really expensive for the 3DS, and if you've got one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Games don't go down in price for the 3DS. I mean, unless it gets released as a Nintendo Select and drops at $20 brand new, you're not going to get it any cheaper than basically what it retailed for. And this is not one of those games that, well, this is one of the rare exceptions, and it's actually regular show Mordecai and Rigby in 8-bit land. And I'm a huge fucking fan of the regular show cartoon. Watched every single episode when it aired on Cartoon Network. When that show ended, the finale of that show, I cried like a bitch. If you haven't watched regular show and you like American cartoons, definitely check it out. It's one of the better ones out there. Like, I dare say that's not even an opinion. That's just a fucking fact of how shitty cartoons have gotten. This really pulled it back in for me. It's just a traditional, like, 2D platformer. And it's called Mordecai and Rigby in 8-bit land for that reason, because Mordecai and Rigby were goofing around with something and they get sucked into a video game that they were playing, and you basically play as like little 2D sprites of Mordecai and Rigby. The 3D feature on this game doesn't work as well as I'd want it to, but I didn't really expect it to work that well. It's supposed to be a fairly short game, which is the main complaint that I kept hearing when I looked into reviews about it. But it's not a bad game, it's just a short game. I mean, I picked it up for $5, so if it's a 3 to 4 hour game, I think $5 is worth 3 to 4 hours of fun that you can get out of it. But one thing that nobody ever touched on this game, any of the reviews I saw, any of the news I saw about it, and for good reason, not many people would really care about it too much, but the instruction manual is designed to look like a Sega Master System cover art. If you've ever seen a Sega Master System game, a lot of the really fucking generic ones were just a white background with that kind of grid going across it, and it would just have the name of the game. Some of them wouldn't even have a picture. So for them to put in the extra time to design an instruction manual to look like an old school game really gives it that nice finish of truly being a tribute to old school games. I mean, it's a one-hit death platformer. You go around, you kill enemies, you collect shit. I mean, there's not much to it, but there's not supposed to be much to it. It does what it does really well, and I like it. The last game that I have in this pickups video, any of you are familiar with the Dark Souls series, developed by FromSoft. I'm not good at those games, but it's weird to say because I've never beat one of the games, but it's one of my... It really is fucking weird to say that because not many people are going to understand where I'm coming from. But I have a couple game series that I feel this way about. I never get into the game series just flatly because I'm not good at the games. And yeah, I mean, if you practice enough and get good at the games, you can get good at them. But I would, like I did with the Dark Souls series, I got sucked into that series because of the lore and because of just watching gameplay videos and seeing how deep the lore went and the art direction in any of the Dark Souls games, Demon Souls included. is just so fucking fantastic. Referencing Tarks Gauntlet, the guy I talked about before, leave it to the Japanese to perfect a Western RPG, because Dark Souls, the Soul series, and as a whole, is essentially just an Eastern RPG, an action RPG, third person. You go around, you fight shit. It's not like a Japanese RPG at all, but it is a Japanese RPG, but it's not like you would expect it to be, like turn-based and everything. And most people stray away from the series because of its brutal difficulty. And I won't say that the game's not hard, because those games are really fucking hard. And that's one reason I'm just not good at them. I've never been good at really difficult games. And like I said, yeah, if you sit down and play them, you'll get good at them, but I just haven't wanted to. I don't want to say I haven't wanted to do it, because I really do want to do it, but it just takes so much time to sit down and get good at a game versus being able to play a game that you know that you won't have any trouble playing. It's just justification of the matter. But anyway, the game in question is Bloodborne, developed for it's a PS4 exclusive, and it comes from the developers of Dark Souls. And the reason that I love this game so much is because if you took, if you're familiar with the author H.P. Lovecraft, if you took one of his novels and turned it into a video game, that's basically what you're getting here. This is Gothic and Victorian horror at its finest, and you're really not going to find anything else like this. And if you let yourself become sucked into this world and force yourself to get good at this game, you're not going to regret it, because this is such a fucking good game. Anything and everything horror is in this game. I mean, from the locations, from the people that you talk to, from the voice acting. The voice acting has always been incredible in the Soul series, and it doesn't stop here. It's just as incredible as it's always been. But from the locations to the character design to the voice acting, and especially the creatures, the enemies that you face, the monsters, they all have such just a macabre atmosphere surrounding them. It's truly a work of art, this game is, and it's so fucking good. If you like horror and you haven't played this, you need to get on it, because it's so fucking good. Like I said, you basically take Edgar Allan Poe and H.P. Lovecraft and take the kind of stories that those men would write on paper and bring that to life in a digital video game, and you've got Bloodborne. It's just fucking cool. Like, all the fancy wordplay aside, it's really just fucking cool. And I really think you should check it out if you're not afraid of a challenge. And like I stated earlier, one thing that I really love is this reversed artwork on the games. And Bloodborne has one of the fucking coolest, because you just get just a plain black image of the player character standing there, and then you just get Bloodborne on the other side, and it looks so badass. If you haven't played it, like I said, if you haven't played it and you're not afraid of a challenge, definitely go play this. Because if you're as big of a horror junkie as I am, then you'll enjoy it beyond words. Even though I did go off on a lot of tangents, I apologize for that. But like I said, when I do a game pickups, I really want to give you guys my thoughts and like reasons to go out and pick one of these games up. Because a lot of these games aren't cheap, and to find a reason to justify these games, I like to give you guys those reasons. I like to let you guys know a little bit about the games that I picked up and why I picked them up and why I think you should pick them up. I really just like to do more than just hold up the game, say the title, and lay it down. That isn't entertaining to me, and I would not think it's entertaining to you. So I like to give you guys a little bit of my personal story behind each game and what I think of each game without doing a full-length review. Because I don't write scripts for any videos. If you think any of my videos are scripted, then no, I don't script any of this shit. I can't sit down and write a script like some YouTubers can. If it doesn't come to me when I sit down in front of the camera, I don't talk about it, because writing a script for a video is, I understand where people come from when they do that, and I really respect the time and the effort that goes into writing a script for a video, but that's just not me. I can't fucking do it. It's just too much to do, and I don't get, by the time I finish writing a script for a video, all of the enjoyment and all of the excitement that I got of thinking to do that video, of planning to do that video, has completely been stripped away, and I'm basically just sitting there reading a fucking piece of paper. And if I'm reading a piece of paper, it's not genuine. That's really where this is coming from. I like my videos to be genuine, and if I write a script, I really feel that all that's taken away. If you guys enjoyed the game pickups, like I said, I might not do one of these month by month by month, but I will try to get these out as soon as I've got enough games to have something to talk about. Because I don't want to put out any. If it's half-assed, I'm not putting it out. That's just all there is to it. If I put it out, I really do think there was a reason behind it, and I really do think that it should have been up on my channel. And regardless of like some of the stupid shit that you've probably seen me do earlier on in the channel, that was just me coming into the channel and learning how to do everything. But I don't like to half-ass anything. That's really the reason why most of my videos are so long, and I'm trailing off again. I apologize. But hope you guys enjoyed that game pickups. Look forward to the next one sometime soon. And always remember, dreams are never that far away. And I'll see you in the next one, y'all.